As news of the ancient ruins spread, the major sects of the Mystic Three Heavens erupted in excitement. Mystic Three Heavens, Een Mountain. This place is shrouded in an invisible layer of dark clouds year-round, its chill earning it the name Een Mountain. Within Een Mountain resides a particularly reclusive sect, Solomon. How are things progressing? An elder asked slowly. Reporting to the sect master, we've uncovered the details. This time, the ruins seemed to contain something related to battle souls. The speaker was a man with a dark, shadowy aura. His face was tinged with black, though the cause was unclear, giving him an ice-cold presence. Battle souls? Is this true? Solomon's sect master shot up from his seat the moment he heard those words. While others might not recognize the significance of a battle soul as a half-step Dosien, he understood it all too well. If he could fuse with a battle soul, he would be capable of slaughtering a full-fledged Dosien even with his half-step Dosien power. Such was the terror of a battle soul. The two most defining traits of a Dosien are their domain and their battle soul. Without a doubt, a domain alone allows a Dosien to stand undefeated, but combined with the power of a battle soul, it could destroy worlds. Absolutely true, Gunny replied calmly. Gunny, take this. Remember, the ruins are off-limits to any 8-star Do-D experts. So, no matter what, you must bring me that battle soul intact. I'll make sure you're handsomely rewarded. The sect master of Solomon let out a maniacal laugh. As he finished speaking, a pitch-black object slowly floated toward Gunny. Understood, sect master. Gunny caught the dark object, his eyes blazing with a fanatical heat. With this, he was confident he could hold his ground against even a mid-stage 7-star Do-D. Gunny turned and left without further words. Moments later, the Solomon sect master let out a strange laugh. Soul Clan, Shinling royal family. Do you really think your secret dealings go unnoticed? No matter. As long as I get that battle soul, my power will soar. Then, an insignificant 1-star Dosien won't be a threat at all. Gunny, you are the most talented disciple Solomon has seen in a century. Your strength has already reached the early stage of 7-star Do-D. Don't disappoint me. With those words, the Solomon sect master's voice faded into the eerie coldness of Een Mountain once again. At the towering peaks of Mount Chong, a place as treacherous as it is majestic, stands the ancient Desolation Palace. Palace Master, what exactly did you encounter in the ruins this time? I saw you return and immediately enter seclusion. You were clearly injured. A young man beside Huangli spoke slowly within the grand hall. The ruins, huh? The things inside were far beyond our expectations. Even now, recalling it made Huangli shudder. When the 5 of them entered the ruins, they quickly split up. Huangli wasn't sure what the others had faced, but he encountered something strange. Huangli found himself trapped inside a crystal palace. The palace was extravagantly adorned, with every living amenity one could imagine. Based on his observations, it was clear someone had once lived there. However, despite exhausting all his strength, Huangli, the palace master known for his formidable physical prowess, couldn't escape the crystal palace, leaving even him at a loss. Fenghong, this time you will take Du Chun with you. This will be the final test for the 2 of you before the sect competition. Make sure you gain something valuable from the ruins so that you can better face the challenges ahead. Huangli spoke with a cryptic air. The young man, whose body rippled with muscles, was clearly a physical force to be reckoned with. Burly would be an understatement. Du Chun, huh? That guy's talent in body techniques might even surpass mine, Fenghong chuckled. Fenghong prided himself on his progress in body cultivation, but after Du Chun's arrival, he realized what a true genius looked like. If Fenghong had some natural advantages in body techniques, then Du Chun, through sheer effort and unyielding determination, was on track to surpass him. Go prepare. With your early-stage 7-star Do-D strength, these ruins should be quite exciting. After a brief pause, Huangli, clearly tired, dismissed Fenghong. Fenghong nodded and left. What on earth is hidden in that crystal palace? Why do I feel so uneasy about it? Huangli muttered to himself, shaking his head. Near the ruins, in the poison sect's base deep within the wildlands. Sister, why hasn't the sect master returned after so long? Could something have happened to him? The young woman before them was none other than Lin Zhu, a member of the poison sect who had once participated in the Xinling royal family's auction. Now, Lin Zhu had blossomed into a stunning beauty, graceful and poised, exuding the air of a refined lady from a noble family. Zhuer, don't worry. The sect leader knows what he's doing. But I must say, you've really surprised me. You've already reached the perfect 6-star Do D stage, the older woman remarked, a hint of amazement in her voice. I originally thought it would take you at least another year to break through to perfect 6-star Do D, but she trailed off, clearly impressed. Maybe it was the effect of the 9-ene demon worm, Lin Zhu replied, after giving it some thought. She couldn't think of any other reason, so she said it as it was. The opening of this ancient ruin will certainly bring another bloody storm to the mystic 3 heavens. The woman sighed, her tone carrying a tinge of regret. Sister, don't worry. Your injuries are nothing serious. When I enter the ruins, I'll do my best to retrieve the most precious treasures. By then, all of your hidden ailments will be completely healed, Lin Zhu said cheerfully. What you brought back last time has already helped me immensely. I'm feeling much better now. The woman stood up, taking a few steps to show Lin Zhu the improvement in her condition. Good. After a brief moment, the two women resumed their light-hearted conversation. Inside the Xinling Palace, my king, what's wrong? In the grand hall of the royal palace, only the Xinling king and Wanzi were present. Wanzi was visibly surprised. The Xinling king had gone to investigate the ancient ruin. So why had he returned in such a weakened state? Get out, the Xinling king roared. That damn old drunk, the sword immortal. He actually used me as a shield in the end. If I hadn't absorbed a sliver of sacred flame power, I wouldn't have made it back. His voice was full of fury. Calm down, my king, Wanzi said, startled but not entirely shocked, knowing the general outline of what had transpired. 10,000 swords sect. I'll remember this. If I ever get the chance, I'll make sure your entire sect pays with their lives. The Xinling king spat venomously. Send my order. Summon Qi Haoran and Qi Haoqing immediately. After a moment of hesitation, the Xinling king commanded. Yes, my king. Wanzi knew this could only mean the ancient ruin. The Qi brothers had been trained by the Xinling royal family for years and were its most outstanding disciples. Before long, the two twin brothers, who looked nearly identical, appeared in the palace. My king, you summoned us? One of them asked. Haoran, Haoqing, you've arrived. The Xinling king greeted them with a smile, the earlier darkness in his demeanor vanishing without a trace. What do you need from us, my king? One of the brothers asked, a hint of curiosity in his voice. We were in the middle of practicing Do techniques when Master Wanzi summoned us, added the other. Haoqing, mind your manners, Qi Haoran scolded gently. The two brothers, though nearly identical in appearance, were easy to tell apart by personality. The elder brother, Qi Haoran, was at the mid-7-star Do D stage, calm and composed with deep foresight, while the younger, Qi Haoqing, was at the early 7-star Do D stage, more reckless and arrogant, making him easy to distinguish. It's fine. The Xinling king waved it off. I've called you both here regarding the ancient ruin. Ancient ruin? Qi Haoqing's eyes lit up with excitement at the mention of it. The ruin had been the talk of the entire realm recently, even reaching the ears of the brothers despite their intense focus on cultivation. My king, do you want us to enter the ruin? Qi Haoran asked, his voice measured. Indeed. The Xinling royal family is currently embroiled in internal strife, and we are in desperate need of new talent. You two are the strongest among the younger generation, and I want you to enter the ruin to hone your skills for future sect competitions, the Xinling king said, his tone earnest, with a touch of expectation. Brother, I can't believe it's true. Qi Haoqing exclaimed. I've heard so much about the ruin, and I've been cooped up in the palace for so long. I'm practically rusting away here. This is my chance to face off against the strongest from the other sects and see who's truly superior. His eyes gleamed with excitement as he spoke. Is there a specific task? Qi Haoran asked after a moment of thought. It's not so much a task as a test. If you pass, you'll earn a permanent place in the Xinling royal family's Hall of Worship, which will secure you abundant resources for your future cultivation, the Xinling king explained with a faint smile. Really? Qi Haoqing's grin widened. Having spent years in the Xinling royal family, the brothers knew that a place in the Hall of Worship would guarantee vast resources for their cultivation. Of course, the Xinling king affirmed with a smile. What's the test? Qi Haoran inquired. The one who blocks my path dies. The Xinling king's icy voice echoed through the palace moments later. Deal. Qi Haoran agreed without a second thought. From the moment they had joined the Xinling royal family, they knew the relationship between the royal family, the Myriad Flowers Pavilion, the Poison Sect, and the Incense Pavilion was as hostile as fire and water. Good. Go make the preparations. The ruins are set to open soon. As for the intelligence regarding the other sects participating in the exploration, I'll have someone deliver it to you. Keep a close eye on that Xiao Yin from the Incense Pavilion, the Xinling king reminded. Understood. After responding to the Xinling king, the two brothers slowly departed. Those two. The Xinling king muttered with a faint smile as he watched them leave, then turned his focus back to recovering from his internal injuries. Mount Tian, 10,000 Swords Sect. Master Zhu Jianxian. Tell us, what exactly is hidden in the ruins this time? No sooner had Zhu Jianxian, Wine Sword Immortal, returned to the sect than his two prized disciples bombarded him with questions. Zhu Jianxian had two disciples, Hongqian and Songyu, childhood friends who had grown up together. Thanks to the support of their families, both were sent to the 10,000 Swords sect to cultivate. Their close relationship had only deepened over time, to the point where they seemed to have made a private vow to be together for life. Qianer, let Master rest a bit, said a rather handsome man walking towards them, holding a wine flask. A faint, enticing fragrance of wine drifted from it. Good wine. My dear Yuer knows me best. Zhu Jianxian's eyes gleamed as he lunged for the flask in Song Yu's hand like a man possessed. Song Yu, Hong Qian roared, unable to hold back her frustration. This is the last time. Song Yu hastily explained, sensing trouble. I've told you so many times. Drinking is bad for his health. You can't let Master drink, and yet you? She trailed off with an angry huff, clearly upset with Song Yu. Heh heh, Song Yu grinned sheepishly. Qianer, if you make me give up drinking, you might as well kill me. Zhu Jianxian laughed heartily, taking a deep gulp from the flask and shooting a glance at Hong Qian. Oh right, I almost forgot. This time, the ruins don't just hold a few herbs your sect master needs. There's also a battle soul within, Zhu Jianxian casually added. Herbs for the sect master? Hong Qian's face lit up with joy, her earlier displeasure vanishing in an instant. A battle soul? Song Yu's brows furrowed, clearly wary of the term. Yes, and deep within the ruins, we didn't venture all the way inside. But there are signs of human presence there, Zhu Jianxian said, taking another swig, half drunk as he spoke. A battle soul? Human presence? Hong Qian gasped in surprise. She knew full well what a battle soul could mean. You two will be the ones going to the ruins this time. As for the sect master, I'll explain it to him, Zhu Jianxian concluded before disappearing, leaving only Song Yu and Hong Qian behind. They exchanged a glance, then embraced before heading off together. Broken Mountain, Heartless Valley. It's been ages since Heartless Valley made its presence known. If we continue like this, we risk being forgotten by the world. An old woman sighed, sitting in a desolate pavilion. Swear, you'll be representing us at the ruins this time. Remember, safety comes first, she warned her disciple carefully. In this world, emotions are the most dangerous. Love wounds the deepest. Stay away from men. Yes, master, replied the veiled woman, her voice soft yet firm. Mount Tai, Puppet Manor. Here, the land was filled with mechanical traps and puppets. One wrong step and you'd be swarmed by an army of deadly automatons. The ruins are about to open. This time, you should go explore. After 30 years of training, you've learned all that I can teach you, said the manor lord, looking at his prized disciple with a reluctant tone. Master, I had hoped to study under you for a few more years, the disciple replied modestly. All right. In that case, bring back the battle soul from the ruins, and I'll teach you for another 10 years. The Manor Lord laughed. Your disciple will not disappoint you. The young man, clad in puppet armor, smiled. At that moment, the puppet behind him let out a chilling, eerie grin as well. This disciple was none other than Hua Lixin, the most exceptional talent Puppet Manor had produced in years. Barely in his 30s, his mastery of puppet techniques had few rivals within the sect. All across the mystic three heavens, numerous sects, both large and small, were fervently discussing the upcoming expedition to the ruins. The anticipation was building. Soon, the seals on the ruins would weaken, and the race to uncover their secrets would begin in earnest. There were only 10 days left before the seal weakened, and every sect was making their preparations. Senior sister, do you think we're being a bit too reckless? At the foot of Mount Huashan, two women slowly appeared, one of them gazing up at the towering peak with some hesitation. Mount Huashan, home to the incense pavilion, and Xiaoyan was there too. I say, Yuru, weren't you always so aloof back at the sect? Her senior sister teased. How come you're so restless now that we've arrived at Huashan? Oh, I get it, she continued before Yuru could respond. You're nervous because you're about to meet your little lover, aren't you? Sister. Yuru's face flushed as she scolded her senior for her unrestrained teasing. If this continued, where would her dignity go? Let me think. What was the name of that boy from the incense pavilion again? Oh, right, Xiaoyan, wasn't it? I'm curious to see what kind of remarkable person has our cold and proud little Yu all flustered. The senior sister chuckled to herself. These two women were none other than Yuru and Xiuqi, the current senior disciple of the Myriad Flowers Pavilion, and one of only two disciples in the sect. Xiuqi, the pavilion master's personal disciple, possessed strength comparable to that of an early 7-star Do D. She was known for her easygoing nature and was pleasant to be around. Sister, you're already at the 7-star Do D level. You can't bully him when we meet. Yuru finally spoke after a moment of hesitation. Oh my, you're already speaking as if you're part of the same family. Xiuqi continued teasing. Yuru had previously made an agreement with Xiaoyan that she would need his help to break through once she reached the level of perfect 5-star Do D. Now, with the Myriad Flowers Pavilion's master absent and Hua Yun unable to withstand Yuru's persistent pleading, they had sent Xiuqi to accompany her to the Incense Pavilion to find Xiaoyan. After all, no one above the 8-star Do D level was allowed to enter the ruins this time, and Xiuqi was among the strongest beneath that threshold within the Myriad Flowers Pavilion. Let's go, sister. Knowing her senior's personality all too well, Yuru decided to ignore her remarks and spoke softly before they both headed toward Mount Huashan, aiming for the entrance to the domain of Scorched Heavens. From there, they hoped to gain access to the Incense Pavilion. Ugh, why is it that while all the other disciples get to stay at the sect and cultivate, I'm stuck guarding the domain of Scorched Heavens? Wang Qin's grumbling voice echoed from the domain's perimeter. The Incense Pavilion's guardianship had always been strict. Other than Xiaoyan, who had once broken through the domain of Scorched Heavens, no one else had ever managed to breach it. Wang Qin, tasked with patrol duties along with his fellow junior disciples, was now left to handle these duties alone after their senior and second senior brothers had left the sect. Naturally, the burden fell on him. Who's there? Despite his grumbling, Wang Qin remained alert, fully aware of the importance of the domain of Scorched Heavens. As soon as he noticed a strange ripple in the space above the domain, he snapped to attention. Little Yu, look, this is the Incense Pavilion's protective array, called the Domain of Scorched Heavens. Xiuqi's sweet voice chimed outside the barrier. Rumor has it that even a Docian has perished within. Xiuqi knew better than to charge in recklessly. She stopped outside the domain, understanding the formidable power of the protective array that guarded the sect. As the Myriad Flowers Pavilion's senior disciple, she was well aware of the dangers. Hey there, little brother. We're from the Myriad Flowers Pavilion, here to see Xiaoyan. Could you inform him for us? Xiuqi spoke lightly, using her soul power to locate Wang Qin's position. Looking for Xiaoyan? Upon hearing the name, Wang Chen immediately recalled his past competition with Xiao Yin. Xiao Yan's reputation had been skyrocketing lately. These two women, one of them has reached perfect 5-star Do D. Their strength far surpasses Xiao Yan's. What business do they have with him? Wang Chen wondered. Moreover, they were from the Myriad Flowers Pavilion, a sect that had a history of misunderstandings with the Incense Pavilion. Why were they sending people here now? Wang Chen, though not particularly strong, was sharp-minded. He knew how important Xiao Yin was to the Incense Pavilion and had every right to block unnecessary trouble for Xiao Yin and the sect. There's no one named Xiao Yin in the Incense Pavilion. You two should go back to where you came from, Wang Chen replied coldly before swiftly vanishing into the domain. Although these women possessed unfathomable power, Wang Chen was wary. If they attacked, he'd be in trouble. This guy. Xiao Qi's delicate brows furrowed as a serious expression crossed her face. He had the nerve to give them the cold shoulder and leave her fuming. No, Xiao Yin. Yuru, initially excited, now felt her expression darken. How could that be? She murmured. I can tell this guy won't behave unless I give him a good beating. As Xiao Qi finished speaking, her figure disappeared mysteriously, and a surge of cyan-colored life force suddenly emerged. The life force of the wind attribute, swift and elusive. So fast. Wang Chen was startled at the sight, but just as he was about to make a move, he was taken aback by Xiao Qi's speed. We're just looking for someone. Why are you? Xiao Qi, swift as a gale, appeared beside Wang Chen, raised her hand as if to strike, but then held back. She stared intently at Wang Chen and said in a deep voice, What are you doing here? Wang Chen, feeling the immense pressure of being stared down by such a powerful 7-star Do D like Xiao Qi, couldn't help but exclaim, A 7-star Do D? Sister, don't cause trouble, Yuru, feeling some fear herself, quickly interjected. I know. Although Xiao Qi was irritated, she held back, weighing the pros and cons, and merely gave Wang Chen a warning without striking. Both of you, there really isn't anyone named Xiao Yin here at the Incense Pavilion. I suggest you leave. Wang Chen, unnerved by the power of these two women, spoke again. At the same time, he subtly sent a signal behind him, seeking aid from the sect. The domain of Scorched Heavens was the protective formation of the Incense Pavilion. Activating it was costly, so Wang Chen didn't dare to do it rashly. The formation was high up in the sky, while the Incense Pavilion was on the ground, so naturally, assistance was needed. Yuru's anger flared at Wang Chen's words. Yuru? Just as the three of them stood at an impasse, a young man with a large ruler strapped to his back passed by, calling out to the young woman in surprise. Xiao Yin? Yuru froze in midair, stunned at the familiar voice. The speaker, could it really be the one she longed for day and night? With only 10 days left before the Relic Seal weekend, all the sects across the mystic three heavens were busy. Yet, an uninvited guest had just arrived at the Incense Pavilion. Sister, are we being too reckless doing this? At the foot of Mount Huashan, two women slowly appeared. One of them hesitated as she looked up at the towering mountain that pierced the clouds. Mount Huashan, home of the Incense Pavilion, and also where Xiao Yin was. Oh, little you. Weren't you always so cold and distant back at the sect? Why are you so jittery now that we're at Mount Huashan? Her senior teased. Oh, I get it. You're nervous about seeing your little lover, aren't you? Before the younger woman could reply, the senior spoke again with a smirk. Sister. Yuru cried out in a mixture of embarrassment and frustration. If she kept talking like that, where would Yuru's dignity go? Let me think. What's the name of that kid from the Incense Pavilion again? Ah, it's Xiao Yin, right? I'd like to see just who this fellow is, to make our icy Yuru's heart race like this. With a laugh, the senior added. These two women were none other than Yuru and the current senior disciple of the Myriad Flowers Pavilion. Xiao Qi, one of the sect's only two disciples. Xiao Qi, the direct disciple of the Myriad Flowers Pavilion's leader, had strength comparable to an early-stage 7-star Do D. She was carefree and easygoing, and known for being friendly. Sister, you're already a 7-star Do D. Please don't bully him when we meet. After a moment's hesitation, Yuru finally spoke up. Oh dear, you're already defending him before you're even married, Xiaoqi teased again. Yuru had once made an agreement with Xiao Yin. When she reached perfect 5-star Dodi, she would need his help to break through. Now that the Myriad Flowers Pavilion's leader was away and Hua Yun could no longer bear Yuru's persistent requests, she sent Xiaoqi to accompany Yuru to the Incense Pavilion in search of Xiao Yin. After all, during this relic event, any 8-star Dodi experts were forbidden from entering, and Xiaoqi was the strongest of the Myriad Flowers Pavilion's 7-star Dodi. Sister, let's go. Knowing her sister's personality, Yuru decided to ignore her comments and urged her forward. The two of them headed toward the entrance of the domain of Scorched Heavens, attempting to enter the Incense Pavilion from there. Why is it that all the other senior brothers get to focus on their cultivation, while I'm stuck guarding the domain of Scorched Heavens? Our Incense Pavilion's defense is strict. Aside from that one time Xiao Yin broke through the formation, no one's ever managed to breach it. Ugh, it's really frustrating. Wang Chen's voice echoed with complaints as he patrolled the perimeter of the domain of Scorched Heavens. The task of guarding and patrolling the formation usually fell to the disciples from the Earth Hall. With both the first and second senior brothers away, the duty had been left to Wang Chen and his fellow disciples. And Wang Chen, naturally, ended up as the first on duty. Who goes there? Despite his grumbling, Wang Chen knew full well the importance of the domain of Scorched Heavens and remained on high alert. When he noticed a strange ripple in the sky above the formation, he instantly tensed up. Little you, look, this is the Incense Pavilion's defensive formation. The moment Xiaoqi appeared, a unique pressure descended upon Xiao Yin, reminiscent of what he had felt only once before, from Zhu Yuan. It was a sign that the playful woman before him was, in fact, a formidable 7-star Dodi. I heard you and Yuru go way back, and you once promised her that you'd seek her out when you reached perfect 5-star Dodi and broke through your life tribulation, Xiaoqi said with a teasing gaze fixed on Xiao Yin. Well, here we are. What's your plan? Her eyes sparkled with anticipation. Xiao Yin was momentarily at a loss. Alright, I was just messing with you. Yuru's situation is rather special. This time, we've come to recruit you into our ranks. Besides, if we manage to help Yuru obtain the full inheritance from the ruins, it could very well clear up the misunderstandings between our Myriad Flowers Pavilion and your Incense Pavilion, Xiaoqi continued. Let's not stand around here. We can talk more at my place. Xiao Yin gave a relaxed smile as he spoke. It wouldn't be right to let guests who had come all this way linger in midair for a discussion. Lead the way. With that, Xiao Yin gestured towards the Incense Pavilion, and the barrier that had initially kept Xiaoqi and Yuru out faded away. Seeing this, Xiaoqi and Yuru exchanged glances, their evaluation of the Incense Pavilion's strength rising further. Soon, the three of them arrived at Wuzhu residence. It was quiet. Everyone seemed to be out training. Alright, let's get straight to the point, Xiao Yin said as he turned to Xiaoqi and Yuru after they entered his quarters. We're here with the approval of both our pavilion masters. We hope you'll help Yuru acquire the complete inheritance. Xiaoqi spoke in a more serious tone now that they were in private. This matter doesn't just concern our two pavilions. It is also a matter of life and death for Yuru. Life and death? Xiao Yin was taken aback. He had never heard that an inheritance could be so crucial. I have no reason to lie. If you don't believe me, you can ask your dear Yu yourself, Xiaoqi replied, catching Yuru off guard with her teasing. Senior sister. Yuru huffed in mild exasperation at being addressed so familiarly in front of Xiao Yin. Alright, I'll step outside to get some air. You two can talk in private, Xiaoqi said with a lighthearted chuckle. Her primary role was to protect Yuru, and whether or not the complete inheritance could be obtained was up to Xiao Yin now. After Xiaoqi left, Yuru hesitated before speaking. How have you been these past few years? How's your condition? Xiao Yin swiftly shifted the topic. He understood Yuru's intentions but was already committed to someone else, so he didn't want to lead her on. The sudden question left Yuru momentarily bewildered. I've heard this inheritance involves some kind of secret related to you. Don't worry, I'll do my best to help you, Xiao Yin said, smiling to ease the tension. Thank you, Yuru murmured softly. It seems your strength has increased quite a bit. Yuru couldn't help but notice the aura emanating from Xiaoyan. She was genuinely curious, as she lacked Xiaoyan's experience and had little insight into his true capabilities. Perfect 6-star Do D, Xiaoyan replied casually. What? Yuru exclaimed in disbelief. She remembered that when Xiaoyan was at the Yu family, his strength was far weaker. Now, in just a few years, he had reached the level of perfect 6-star Do D, surpassing even her father's prowess. That's incredible, Yuru whispered, almost to herself. Heh, if you manage to obtain the complete inheritance, your strength will skyrocket like a rocket. I might not even be able to keep up with you, Xiaoyan said reassuringly. I hope so, Yuru replied, falling silent afterward, her gaze lingering on Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan let her stare, saying nothing. Outside, Xiaoqi was pacing back and forth when she suddenly bumped into Little E, who had just returned. Lately, Little E had frequently been heading to the training grounds to hone his combat skills. Who are you? What are you doing at Wuzhu residence? Little E, though momentarily captivated by Xiaoqi's beauty, quickly regained his vigilance. Impressive, Xiaoqi murmured. Despite her carefree nature, she couldn't help but feel drawn to Little E's aura. Could such a handsome young man really exist? But then she noticed something amiss. Little E's strength surpassed even her own. In most sects, reaching the 7-star Do D level would qualify one to graduate. An 8-star Do D would typically be elevated to a deacon or elder, no longer considered a disciple. Yet, this young man was clearly dressed as a disciple of the Incense Pavilion, and his power exceeded even that of some elders in the Myriad Flowers Pavilion. It was truly puzzling. I'm just a passerby, Xiaoqi replied. A passerby? Or perhaps an intruder? Take this, Little E shouted as he swiftly launched an attack, attempting to subdue Xiaoqi. Wait, I'm a friend of Xiaoyan. Xiaoqi protested, feeling frustrated at the sudden assault without explanation. Little E, he's one of us, Xiaoyan intervened, just as Little E made his move. Hearing this, Little E awkwardly apologized to Xiaoqi. You're so reckless, attacking without warning. So rude. Xiaoqi complained, clearly annoyed. You can't blame me. You just walked out of our place like that. Anyone would think you were a little thief, Little E muttered under his breath. What did you say? Xiaoqi flared up and immediately chased after Little E, creating a lively scene. These two, Yuru chuckled as she and Xiaoyan continued their conversation inside the room. With the arrival of Xiaoqi and Yuru, the atmosphere in Wuzhu residence became much livelier. As time flew by, the day of the relic's opening soon arrived. On this day, both Xiaoyan and Yuru, along with the others, were up early, clearly eager and prepared. They had long awaited this moment. According to Elder Zhu's analysis, there would be 5 people heading to the relic this time. Xiaoyan, Qin Xian, Lung Fuyao, Mu Feng, and Mu Yingying. Xiaoyan and Lung Fuyao were naturally essential members of the group. One was the backbone of the Incense Pavilion, and the other, a prodigy of the alchemy room. Their participation was expected. As for Qin Xian, she was determined to acquire something from within the relic, and although Elder Qing was reluctant, he eventually allowed her to go. Elder Zhu had initially been against Mu Feng joining, considering the relic's immense danger. In this case, more people wouldn't necessarily increase their safety. However, given Mu Feng's familiarity with the mysterious 8 trigrams at the relic's entrance, he was allowed to tag along under Xiaoyan's supervision. As for Mu Yingying, she was adamant about going, and Elder Zhu could only give in. Let's head out. Xiaoyan stood at the edge of the domain of scorched heavens, addressing the group behind him. Understood. The group nodded silently. They all knew the main goal of this expedition was to help Yuru from the Myriad Flowers Pavilion secure the true inheritance, and to ensure that the battle soul didn't fall into the wrong hands. Everything else would depend on their individual fortunes. This journey will be filled with dangers. Be cautious, Mu Shuzi advised, looking at Xiaoyan's disciples with a mix of pride and concern. Big brother, Little E, standing quietly to the side, was visibly troubled. As an 8-star Do D, he was bound by a restriction, unable to leave the Incense Pavilion. I'll be fine, Xiaoyan reassured him, knowing his concerns. Good luck, and may you return victorious. Xiong Yuan bid them farewell with a solemn nod, watching as they departed. With a brief exchange of glances, Xiao Yin and the others left the domain of scorched heavens, heading toward the relic's location. Let's hope this time, neither the battle soul nor the inheritance falls into the hands of the Xinling royal family, Elder Zhu Jin muttered to himself as he sensed Xiao Yan's departure from his quarters. Xinling Royal Training Grounds. Ha ha ha, exhilarating. Come on again. A wild and arrogant laugh echoed across the training grounds. At the center, Qi Haoqing stood shirtless, his body marked with deep, visible scars as he endured the relentless attacks from several six-star Do-Di servants. Haoqing, it's time to go, Qi Haoran appeared, speaking calmly as he approached. Qi Haoqing was no ordinary person. His extreme method of training through brutal physical punishment was comparable to the techniques used by the ancient Desolation Palace. Brother, are we leaving now? Qi Haoqing dismissed the servants with a wave, his eyes burning with excitement as he gazed at Qi Haoran. The second brother of the Qi family was a rare talent, but having been confined to the Xinling royal family for years, he knew little about the outside world. Now that they were heading to the relic, he could hardly contain his excitement. Yes, Qi Haoran confirmed, nodding. The seal on the relic has weakened. It's time. Qi Haoqing quickly dressed and followed his brother, both heading directly for the relic. My king, do you think sending those two brothers is enough to secure the battle soul? Wenzi asked, watching the Qi brothers leave. Haha, the battle soul, huh? The Xinling king smirked. It's mine for the taking. Even though the relic's suppression is deadly for anyone stronger than an 8-star Do-Di, I've made arrangements. The Dragon Devourer Legion will strike at the critical moment. The Xinling king laughed sinisterly. What? My king? The Dragon Devourer Legion has been dispatched by the Guardian of Flame Qi, Wenzi remarked cautiously. Haha, I've got that covered, the Xinling king sneered. The relic's 8-star Do-Di suppression may work on others, but I have my own means to bypass it. Though it will come at a steep price, it's worth it. Just wait. Ha ha ha. The Xinling king let out an eerie laugh after he finished speaking. By my calculations, the ruins should be opening soon. Let's go, junior sister, Song Yu said to his childhood companion as they stood within the 10,000 Swords sect. Brother Song Yu, do you think these ruins will be too dangerous this time? In the past, senior brothers and elders would always accompany us, but this time, the entire area for hundreds of miles has been sealed off, and it's just the two of us going, Hong Qian remarked, sounding puzzled. Don't worry, no matter what storms or waves come, I've got you, Song Yu replied with a gentle smile, his eyes filled with affection. Hold on. Just as they were about to leave, the sword immortal suddenly appeared. Master, is there something else? Hong Qian playfully made a mischievous face. These ruins aren't quite normal this time, but you two should be especially wary of the Xinling royal family. I have a feeling something's off, though I can't pinpoint what exactly, the sword immortal warned, taking a swig from his flask. The Xinling royal family? Song Yu frowned upon hearing the name. And also, be cautious of Yu Ru from the Myriad Flowers Pavilion and Xiao Yin from the Incense Pavilion, the sword immortal added after a moment of thought. One of them is a successor of these ruins, and the other is a rare genius from the Incense Pavilion in the past 1,000 years. Understood, master. We'll keep that in mind, Song Yu nodded slightly. Anyone their master paid such close attention to was undoubtedly powerful, so Song Yu's guard was up. Off you go then. With that, the sword immortal vanished, and Song Yu and Hong Qian slowly made their way toward the ruins. All the great sects had begun dispatching their people to the ruins, partly to train their disciples, but more importantly, to compete for the main prize of this expedition, the battle soul. It could be said without exaggeration that the existence of the battle soul had shaken even the most powerful figures of these sections. If not for the formidable restrictions within the ruins, they might have directly intervened to snatch it. However, due to the special seal, they could only send their most outstanding disciples to fight for the battle soul. By this time, two of the super sects, Myriad Flowers Pavilion and Incense Pavilion, had already formed an alliance due to Yu Ru's presence. The Poison sect had sent their prodigy, Lin Zhu. As for the Xinling royal family, the two brothers, Qi Haoqing and Qi Haoran were representing them. From Heartless Valley came Bing Shuai, while Feng Hong and Du Chun from the ancient Desolation Palace, Gu and I from Solomon, and Hua Lixin from Puppet Manor were also present. Smaller sects, lacking the same information as the larger ones, had sent many powerful fighters, but these strong figures paused after entering the restricted area of the ruins. They understood that if they stepped further in, they might be wiped out instantly. So now, the ones venturing into the heart of the ruins were all young talents from the mystic three heavens.